Like it says it's showtime. All right. Well, welcome. Welcome to Unmuted, everyone. We're here with the amazing Marjorie. Welcome, Marjorie.
Thank you.
It is Unmuted Friday. I'm Paige, your hostess. I'm the founder of Paige Capacity Builders, which is a strategy consulting and coaching firm. I work with nonprofits and philanthropy and government. And I've been doing this work for a really long time. And so this is the little story of how I started Unmuted. Doing this work for so long and meeting amazing women like Marjorie, for example, it just got me thinking, how can other people meet these amazing women too? And how can I show everyone the awesome work that they're doing? Because folks are doing some really incredible work around the globe, in their communities and across communities. And it's exciting for folks to know about that. It shouldn't just be a little secret that Marjorie exists. So we're here today. We're on our 20th episode.
Oh
I
my
can't believe that. I know, you're number 20. I know. And yeah, so it's been a wonderful ride. Hey, Saeed. I was about to say, if you're joining us, say hello. Let us know where you're joining from. It's always wonderful to see where folks are joining from. I'll try to jump in the chat too to say hello. But yeah, we'll just dive right in. Marjorie, would you like to tell everybody just a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Sure. Thank you so much, Paige. Paige,
Yeah.
Paige and I met through LinkedIn,
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah,
turned
that's
into
right.
this like actual friendship,
So
and I'm so grateful for it.
mhm.
I'm Marjorie Maas. I'm the CEO of Share Good. Share Good is a national nonprofit tech organization. I'll unpack that for you. We help communities connect holistically to generosity. And I say that because we have the ability for for nonprofits in their communities to raise their hands for financial, in kind, event publicity, and volunteer opportunities. All different types of volunteer opportunities. And we are really excited because we are now in 9 communities. We're at kind of an inflection point. We've been lucky enough to serve big metros like Detroit and smaller, more intimately sized regions like central Louisiana. And I just feel like we have something for every area of the country to express how they want to be generous.
I love that. How did you get into that work?
Oh, that's a good question. So we'll talk a little bit about this later, but because she sent me the questions ahead of time, guys. But but I was lucky enough to hear that there was an opening for Share Omaha. And Share Omaha's first executive director. And I had a friend that said, go look at sharecharlotte.org, where this all began, Share Charlotte, Charlotte, North Carolina. And
Mhm.
I just fell in love. I was like, this is magic on a screen, and it translates to real life and real collaboration and real involvement and relationships and people finding who is serving what they're passionate about. And I just loved it. And so I put all my eggs in the try to work at Share Omaha basket. And I was the founding executive director. And so eventually we acquired the IP that powers both of those websites, both those platforms, the intellectual property. And the board said to me, figure out what the best national structure is. And we determined that us being a nonprofit hub was the best structure, tied by license agreement, by software as a service license agreements, which gives a lot more freedom to our communities to use the software as they need to. And they said, how about you consider running that national network? And I am down for ambiguity and building the plane as you're flying it. And I have been on this ride now for about 3 years, and I cannot tell you that not one day is boring.
Mhm. I love it. And you were sharing with me earlier that you came maybe from corporate America before, maybe in the corporate social responsibility space?
Yes, yes. So my role just prior was Director of Corporate Social Responsibility for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska, and it was great. And I got a chance to learn so much about the nonprofits in our state, their
Mhm.
struggles, their successes, and that chapter led to Share Omaha. And I was captivated by Share Omaha's mission.
I love it. I think we all like aspire to feel so much joy and to feel so connected to the work we're doing, right? I
Yes.
mean, that's what I always talk about in my coaching when you have people that are so unhappy. It's like we spend so much time doing our work.
Mhm.
We hope it can bring us some happiness and joy. Um,
Yes.
and I know, Marjorie, connecting with you, like you spread that joy. And it's been a lot of fun connecting you with others who could hopefully, take advantage of the amazing work you're doing across the country. So for anyone listening out there, this is your cue that if you know folks in the nonprofit space, if you're in a community where they're a nonprofit, if you're in a nonprofit, um, connect with Marjorie. She's trying to do big things for our country. So it's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if you guys are just joining, let us know where you're joining from. We're about to dive into our questions we've been asking everyone. I did share them with you in advance, but they're also the same questions we've been asking everyone.
I know.
Um, but they've been a lot of fun. It's been a lot
Yeah.
of fun to see the different responses or similar responses and see where some of those common threads are for folks
Mhm.
in their leadership journeys. So that's been really, really cool to see. We had Tanya Brown last week, who does a lot of hiring work and recruitment work for companies. So it was really cool to see and interesting, actually, to hear some of her leadership journey because she was working with federal government for a long time in her career and then switching to something like that, right? So it's
Wow.
like so different. Um, but okay, without further ado, let's dive into our first question. Um, what is a mindset shift that you have had along your leadership journey that shapes the way you lead today?
I had some teachings and did some reading related to abundance over
Mm,
scarcity. And
mhm,
that it's kind of a buzz now. Back when I
mhm,
started thinking about it, it really wasn't. But it's about having faith in the future over fearing it, right? I believe that like the joy you talked about.
mhm,
Joy doesn't come from a scarcity mindset. Joy comes from thinking that there's possibility. And I'm not saying I'm Pollyanna. Positivity is one of my top 5 Gallup strengths, but I will tell you that the more you try to kind of stranglehold something to make it happen, the less enjoyable it is, the less contagious it is, the less attractive it is, and it tends to kind of wither because it's not
mhm,
growing with joy. It
mhm,
feels like a slog. And I believe even when things are tough for nonprofits, even when things are tough for businesses, if you have faith that that you can still reach your mission, that keeps people with you rather than pushing people away. And I believe you can ride kind of the tide of that. I was thinking about this in preparation for this call, and I was
mhm.
thinking it's trust over striving,
Ooh,
right? Like like abundance is thinking that there's, like I said, possibility, that there is enough to go around, that resources are not finite, that maybe just more people need to be invited to the party, more people need to be asked, more people need to be just a part of what you're doing, and inviting people in doesn't come from a scarcity mindset. And so
mm,
trusting that there's beauty and goodness in the mission that you're serving, and that can be for profit, I mean that can be in customer service, that can be in so many different facets, but trusting that that's good and purposeful over striving to make it happen. Like I just think the race becomes too hard if you're striving like that.
Yeah, I love that. The abundance mindset. What caused that shift for you?
It
That's powerful.
well, I think I I was starting out in fundraising, and I
Mhm,
think I was kinda scared. Like, am
mhm.
I gonna get my number? Am I going to
Yeah,
keep these employees, like, where they need to be for livelihood and all these other things? It felt a lot of pressure.
yeah.
And when I started thinking that it was just about telling people about the good work, and
Mhm.
I had heard, and I'll tell you, it was a pastor that was talking about this, and I was like, "That is what I'm missing." I'm trying so hard. And I had a consultancy business way back, before any of this in arts marketing, and I remember I was so scared. I was working so hard. Next client, next contract, next project, and I felt like I was just like white knuckling it every day.
Yeah,
And work really changed when I started thinking about it differently.
yeah. It's amazing. It's like what you've described. It's like having the trust in yourself and in the work that you're doing, leads you to feeling like there is more of an abundance of everything.
Yes.
Um, and it lets you release. I see this like visual because the way you described it was just really visual, like choking something because it's true. It's like you're holding on so tight. Um, and sometimes we don't see that we're really like that's where like we're our own worst enemy, or
Mhm.
we're working against ourselves
Yes.
versus trusting that. And in fundraising, that's huge.
Mhm.
That's a big one.
Yeah, and the pressure that you feel when you care about your work. I
Yeah,
mean, no matter what it is, when you care about your work, there's ways to care and be passionate, but there's also ways to care and kill yourself at it, like, just, like, constantly, like, feeling like everything is going to be attacking me,
yeah.
as opposed to finding more people to join you in that journey.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's yeah, making friends and bringing people in into the torture with you makes it much more
Well,
enjoyable.
into accomplishing it together, right? And it doesn't have to be a war, it doesn't have to be a battle. It doesn't have to be, right? Like, the best doors to walk through are the ones that are opened for you, and I think that's hard to come by when you are thinking that everything is not cursed, but you think that everything's going to be really challenging, right?
Yeah, a deficit mindset, yeah.
Yeah, deficit mindset, I like that. I'm gonna start
Yeah.
using that.
Don't tell my children.
Okay.
Um, all right, our second question. What is a risk you took along your journey that changed everything for you?
I talked about how I had an arts marketing consultancy, and that was after 2 roles in events and arts marketing, public relations and promotions, and I
Mhm,
did that consultancy for about 5 years, and then I worked at the Arts Council, and I was a dedicated arts marketing professional.
mhm,
I had gotten to the point where I felt like my whole identity was wrapped into promoting and bringing an audience to the arts, and I was the art lady, right? And the arts promotion lady, and I went around that time, I went through the Leadership Omaha cohort program, and I realized that there was all these different causes in the community that I cared about: mental health, housing, transportation, environment, education, basic needs. I mean, and I just realized that I would only be touching those tangentially if I kept doing what I was doing. And knowing that there was more out there for me to touch and get and be passionate about and actually be demonstrative about it,
mhm.
that allowed me to apply and take a big leap. I basically made like not like a 180, but I started working. I was the first development officer for College Possible Omaha, a college access organization, and that was where I did the fundraising. That's where I was scared, right? But
Mhm,
I submitted big grant applications. I
mhm.
headed up individual stewardship. I planned fun fundraising events, and I wrote federal grants and loved it. And my windshield just got wider
Yeah.
because and if I hadn't had that Leadership Omaha experience, like, I've tried to track it back, and I think that's where it came from. Um,
Mhm.
and I saw more opportunities, and so that led to the CSR position at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I was helping granting and serving social determinants of health across the state. And like I said, I saw the struggles and the grit of so many nonprofits. And I just felt like they all need more resources, right? They all need more people to understand that are already passionate about what they do, to know that they exist, right? And
Mhm.
that led me to Share Omaha, and then the rest is share good history.
Share good history. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's great that it was really actually like the leadership program, that investment in
Mhm.
yourself as a leader, that led you like basically to where you're at right now, you
Well,
know?
and it wasn't a business that put me through it. It was my consultancy. My dollars put me through that program.
Yeah.
And it was a business expense, whatever, but it was my business, my work, my P&L, and I got a chance to do amazing things in that role at the consultancy, but I was like, I knew there were people I wasn't meeting
Mhm.
because I was so kind of siloed in what I was doing, and
Yeah.
just opening myself up for that. Yeah, I invested in myself. You're exactly right.
Yeah. I mean, not only did it open you up to all of all of that new stuff, but I just think of the skill building piece too. And
Mhm,
like on that side with all the fund development and, doing all those events and doing something outside of marketing because that was so much arts marketing was your
mhm.
identity. It was,
Yes,
you were an arts lady, you
yes,
know?
yes.
Um, and you were doing all these other things that actually can contribute to the arts too, right? So it's not like that's left behind, which is really cool. You just,
Well,
like you said, expanded your windshield.
and I get to be a patron now.
Yeah.
I get to go attend the art gallery opening, and I'm
Mhm.
not watching the donor wall, and I'm not
Right.
seeing the traffic coming through the door or counting the attendees.
Yeah.
Like I'm not seeing what reviewer came from the magazine. Like I just get to go and enjoy, and I get to support, and I get to be, like I said, a patron. I get to go to the symphony and just experience it. And that has brought more enjoyment back to me for the arts than working so deeply in them. I kind of felt like I had almost forgotten how beautiful things were because I was so focused on the administration of it.
Yeah, you were deep in the woods. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very real.
Yeah.
Yeah, lose
And
perspective and joy and yeah.
yeah, and art's a big piece for me. I majored in art history, and I knew that an art history major wasn't going to get the marketing job, right? But I had set a mission back in college that I was going to bring an audience to the arts, and I lived that for about 10 years, right? But I also my university was so great. They let me take all the marketing and PR classes I
My next
wanted.
question. That was my next question. I'm like, so how'd you do the marketing part? I'm like, were you a double major or where did
Yeah.
that come in?
At that point, they didn't have a business minor. They just said I could say that it was a business emphasis,
Mhm.
because I'd started in the business school and I'd taken the accounting and the microeconomics and all those classes,
Yeah.
and really just fell into enjoying PR and marketing. And so they
Mhm.
said, "Well, how about you love art history, get your degree in that, do your capstone in that, and then we'll keep on getting your skill set for marketing." And I I got the best kind of art community marketing boot camp job out of college that I could have had, and that led to me working for the Omaha Symphony, and that led to me doing promotions for the opera, and it led to me helping artists write artist statements and press releases. And I mean, I got to live out what I had hoped for, but then I kind of felt like I had checked it,
Yeah.
right?
What's
And
next?
what else is there out there? And maybe I go back someday and I choose working in arts marketing again, but it will be my choice, not because I have to.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. And the space from it would probably be, you'll come back to it even with a different perspective then.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. You've had a couple of lives in this lifetime.
Yes, in Taylor Swift language, they were my eras, you know? So, they
There
were
you
my
go.
eras. My daughter loved that I just said that.
That's awesome. Too bad she's not here with us.
No, no, but she may watch a recording, I don't know,
I
so.
think I think it's really great that your college was so supportive too.
Mhm. It was
That they
yeah,
played a role.
yeah, liberal arts and sciences. I got a
Mhm.
chance to kind of experiment all over campus. I
Mhm.
fell into art history. It was like the class I was assigned to freshman year,
Oh,
to fulfill that piece, and I it woke up something in my brain that I did not expect. I had grown up going to museums and going to DC and going to the National Gallery and I'd grown up doing all that work, doing all that exposure, but I had
yeah.
never like really thought about it like critically. And that class made me think like, why is Solowitz blue circle on a yellow canvas? Like, why is that art?
Right.
And I got a chance to answer that question. And when I answered that question, I just kept going. So
That's exciting.
yeah, yeah,
That's very exciting.
yeah. Thank you.
All right, our last question. And if you're just joining us, let us know where you're joining from. And if you have any questions for Marjorie, put them in the chat.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Please.
definitely. Okay, our last question. What is a leadership lesson that you've chosen to unlearn or lesson?
Well, I would say there's a lot of older lessons out there that people clung to for decades, right? And three of them that came to mind was bravado and huge ego, right? Um, Thinking that you have to own the room when you walk into it. And then the workaholic attitude that work always comes first. Well, and I think, and I've had bosses where that, if you're not working until 8 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, if you're not turning in that grant application by the midnight deadline, like I've had bosses, I've experienced and watched people act like that. And that's hard. And then also as a leader, thinking you need to be the smartest in the room. That's beyond ego. That's like thinking that you have to lead every aspect of everything. That leads to micromanagement. It's horrible. Um, but I've been so lucky, Paige, to have amazing leadership examples set for me, and and it took over all those older lessons. I feel like I entered my career noticing that it didn't have to be those ways. And
Mhm.
um, back to bravado and big ego, I remember I was excited when I was prepping for this because I was thinking about Mr. Givens, my high school senior year principal, and his predecessor was an amazing guy. He what you would expect, three-piece suit every day, like very, very much like the leader of the school. Mr. Givens was the assistant principal beforehand, and when he I remember I'd gone to leadership camps, like student council camps, and I think maybe I was primed for this, but I remember this moment so clearly. It was after like a choral performance, and Mr. Givens was there and he was saying hi to people. And then it got to be a little bit later, and there's custodians there, there's teachers there. He started putting back the tables and pushing in the chairs. And I was like, I I almost couldn't believe it. I was like you're the big cheese, like you're the guy. And he wasn't above it. And I don't think he was a micromanager. I don't think he had to feel like he had to do everything. I think he was like, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and be a part of what needs to happen right now. And that was servant leadership. That was being a part of it with your team. And I go back to um, that example. And so I roll up my sleeves and I get dirty with my team if I have to, right? If I need to and if I want to. So that's great. And then the workaholic thing, there's the balance, but I think it's more of a dance between fulfilling your mission and fulfilling your work and purpose personally. And
Mhm.
and sometimes they overlap really hard, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes one's on fire and one isn't, and they're both on fire at times. But like you if you and I'm so grateful for my chief operating officer. She really believes in giving yourself the personal time that you need so
Mm,
we don't burn out,
mm,
so we can do this work for a long time. And I'm just really grateful that we've sculpted a culture at Share Good where that happens. Um, and then just hiring the best people is such a better remedy for than thinking you have to be the smartest person in the room. That's a
mm,
lot of pressure. I think it leads to scarcity mindset. Like if you think
mm.
you're the smartest person in the room or you think you have to be, like
Yeah.
there's so much you have to like purport
Yeah.
that because you don't know everything. And I think it leads to inauthenticity, and people respond to humility, and people respond to people being interested in other people. Um,
Hmm.
and knowing that you have an employee that's amazing at sales or amazing at finance, and you know enough to be able to be the facilitator and the consensus maker in that space as the leader, like your role is to let them do their best work, and
Hmm.
giving them the latitude and the runway to be successful. That's your role,
Hmm.
not to say like I know better than you. And there's times where you have to like say no, this is the way we need to go. But it's not because they didn't advise you, not because you didn't examine like their expertise. And
Hmm.
and I've seen leaders out in the world that just still subscribe to being the smartest person in the room. And that's really tough, I think, on their teams.
Yeah, I mean, these are really great takeaways, Marjorie. I think it's not just tough on their teams, it's tough on them too. And
Mhm.
you mentioned that earlier. I mean, because you can't know everything. It's impossible. And
Right.
so you can't be authentic then because you're pretending
Mhm.
essentially to know everything. Um,
Right.
and I think that becomes very stressful for leaders and it becomes very lonely.
Mhm.
And with stress and loneliness, you're not yourself.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, these are really great takeaways. Thank you.
Well, and I you talked about that loneliness factor,
Mm,
and I think when you get to a senior leadership position, it does feel lonely because there's not anybody doing exactly what you do.
yes.
And I have been I'm grateful that I have found people out there
Mhm.
that I can share what's happening, no pun intended, share good, and that I can share my struggle or my challenge I'm having,
Yep.
and it's a safe place because they've been there before, even though it's slightly different than what I do.
Mhm.
Um, strive to find your people because and don't let go of them,
Yep.
right? And I'm grateful. I have friends that I met at my first job, and they're still friends today. And I'm grateful because I feel like I've tried to really curate a group of people that I can be safe with, even if
Yes.
I don't have a peer at my level, if that makes sense anymore.
Yeah. And you have an advisory tribe. Uh,
Yes, my friend Kim Armstrong would say it's my personal board of directors.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have one
I love
too.
that. I love that.
I have one
And exactly, we all kind of need those people that we can say like, "Well, I'm worried about this, so I gotta talk to her or I gotta talk to him." And
too.
so, yeah,
Just to your point of we can't know everything.
can't know everything. No, no, and people are gonna have different kinds of advice for you.
That's right, because they've had different experiences. We're almost at time, and someone has put a comment in that says, "I would love to hear about tips for fundraising."
Oh,
Um,
we have 30 seconds left.
I know. And so, do you want to do that, Marjorie? I mean, I think we both have tons of things we could share, but if you want to share some quick things for Paula, that would be amazing.
Relationship above the close,
Yep.
right? And
Relationships is the first thing I was going to say.
and caring about listening to what they actually care about,
Mhm.
major gifts specifically,
Yeah.
and being able to have them realize a passion in their life through the work that your organization does. Like, that's the gift you're giving them because you're in relationship with them and you know them well enough to know, like, you can't just walk in the door and ask for however many thousands of dollars. The relationship leads to a more significant and meaningful gift for both your organization and for them. There we go.
That was a beautiful, beautiful takeaway. And Paula, if you want more, don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to
Thanks.
share lots of things.
Yes.
We're here to support you. Well, this is our time. I want to respect your time, Marjorie, and our guests. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Super excited you could join us. Reach out to Marjorie if you're interested in learning more about Share Good. And we'll see you in 2 weeks at the next Unmuted. Have a great
Thank,
weekend.
thank you, Paige.
Yeah, thanks for being here.